How's it going, everyone? Today we're taking a deep dive into the most common defensive teams in Grand Arena, as well as the most common counters against the most common defensive teams. People always ask, what's the best farm I can get for return on investment? What's the best defensive team? What's the best offensive team? Today, you can help get some of those answers to help guide your farms, because when you see this team beats 7 of the most common defensive team in the game, that helps you understand where the meta sits. It's like, oh, people early on say, oh, farm troopers. Well, at some point, you're not going to be able to use troopers to beat very much. So what are some of the things you can farm that will be evergreen and let you handle those teams later? And I'm going to show you the list of the most common counters, or most common teams first. So we start here. The most common team in the game, Gungans. Boss, Nas, Gungans. This is the most common defensive team in the game. Not the highest hold rate, the most common. This is what you're going to see the most. Again, not the strongest defensive team, the most common. The most common counters for the most common defensive team. Traya / Savage lead, 99% win rate. Bo-Katan Mandalore, 94% win rate. JML, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, 95% win rate. Phoenix, 79% win rate. Gas, 77% win rate. Jabba, next most common defensive team. Most common counters, again, Lord Vader Maul, 93% win rate. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren without dark side, right? 77% win rate. Aphra, 77% win rate. JMLjkck, 64% win rate. And Reva, 87% win rate. This is based on the most recent season of Grand Arena, which is the caveat I'm going to give you going into our next most common team, Reva. Now, last 2 seasons of 5v5, there was a Grand Inquisitor Datacron that was extremely strong. It is going to push all of our win rate numbers down here, so keep in mind when I read these win rate numbers that outside of that Datacron, they will be higher, and I'll caveat you myself with personal experience as we go through them. Traya, 75% win rate. That seems reasonably accurate. You could maybe expect more like 80-85. Bane, 99% win rate. As you saw, even Bane is completely unaffected by this Datacron. General Scalker with Captain Rex, 92% win rate. Malgus, 35% win rate. This is the big one. Grand Inquisitor Datacron made them immune to fear, which is pretty important for Sith Empire. I would expect more like an 85% win rate with Malgus most of the time, or higher. You'll very rarely lose that matchup. Phoenix, 50%. Similar, Datacron skewed it a little bit, probably more like 65-70. You do need GBA in the last spot of your Phoenix team. Bo-Katan Mandalore, 61%. Same thing, got skewed a little bit. I'd expect more like a 70% win rate. Next, most common team, Malgus. Most common counter for it, Sith Eternal with Wat Tambor, 98%. General Skywalker, 65%. JML, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, 86%. Jedi Master Kenobi, 93%. Jabba, 98%. You'll notice some of these I only give 5, some of them I give 6. They're all 5 or 6 most common counters. Great Mothers, which honestly surprised me it made this list, if we're being totally honest. Malgus / Darth Revan, 99%. Jedi Master Kenobi, 99%. General Skywalker, 60%. Reva, 99%. Lord Vader Maul, 96%. Tuskens, again, shocked they made the list, but the recent LSB probably did drive up the amount of Tuskens that are being placed on defense. We have, General Skywalker, 99% win rate. Bo-Katan Mandalore, 99% win rate. JMLjkck, 99% win rate. Traya, 99% win rate. Raddus, 99% win rate. And I added an extra one for us here. Bosk with the good Mando, Grief, Zam, Bounty Hunter lineup, 98%. Queen Amidala, I did not fill in the last 2 spots. Those are pretty flexible. Bane, 93% win rate. Jedi Master Kenobi, 96. Gas, 89. Reva, 88. Traya, 90. Sith Eternal with Bane, 95. and JML with JKCK Kestis 62. Next up, forgive me, Jedi Master Kenobi. Most common counters: Mirror Match 95%, Reva 87%, JMLjkck Kestis 50%, which is crazy, but that is a technical counter that does require practice. Baylan 93%, Bo-Katan Mandalore 50%. That one did surprise me. I would expect that to be higher. Leia 93%, and then the Sith Eternal combo with Watt and Armor and Thrawn and all that jazz 67%. Next, most common counter, Finn Zorri with Resistance Heroes, or most common team. Most common counters, Malgus 99% win rate, CLS 81% win rate, Aphra 95% win rate, Night Sisters with Merrin is important, 88% win rate, JML with JKCK Kestis 99% win rate, and Traya at 96% win rate. Qui-Gon Jinn is our last most common defensive team at number 10. Most common counters being Bad Batch, hosing an only 43% win rate. Gungans 99%, JML 99%, Malgus 98%, Reva 99%, Sith Eternal with Watt 99%, and Gas 64%. So, what does all this mean? Well, I just named off a ton of teams. So what teams beat the most? Most versatile counters is what I'm calling it. JML coming in at the highest, tied for first on the number of the most common defensive teams that it is being commonly used against. That's not to say that only JML can beat 7 of those, right? It's to say that that's what people are using. That is what the meta is right now. There are better counters. If I see Jabba on defense, like in 3v3, I'm throwing Night Sisters at it. Now, we didn't look at 3v3 today, but still. If I see Queen Amidala, I'm going to use just regular Sith Eternal. That wasn't on there. It was SEEwat, or sorry, it was SEEbane and just Bane. People aren't using SEE as much like I am. So where does the meta land? JML beats 7 out of the 10 teams. Many of those had JKCK, but not all of them require him. JKCK is just a win rate percentage bump for most. So any of those that were low percentage win rates already with JKCK, those he probably is needed for. But if you had a 99%, let's say Qui-Gon Jinn, for example, JML, Hoda can 2-man most Qui-Gon Jinn teams. So you don't need JKCK and Jedi Luke and all that stuff. General Skywalker, 7 out of 10. Fantastic. Well, I just love General Skywalker. I know he's gotten some hate the past few years. Like, he's dated and he gets bad banners. 7 out of 10. 7 out of the 10 most common defensive teams he beats. Now, the one caveat with General Skywalker, one of those is with Captain Rex, and that was the Reva. So knock that to 6. If you're not using Captain Rex and using that to beat Reva. And I believe that does help the QA win rate as well. Next most versatile offensive counter team is Traya. Now, the Gungan one, it is a little better to put SavageL in the lead and bring Talon. I left the last 2 spots empty. You don't need Scion, if you're wondering about that. I have gone the longest time. I do have them now. But I went the longest time without a relic Scion. But like Traya, Nihilus, Savage, Talon, Marauder, Assassin, all these tunes are perfectly fine to fill in. Beats 5 at beats half of them. And keep in mind, 1, 2 were GLs, which turns her Omicron off. So it's really 5 out of 8, because she's not beating the GLs, so it's not even fair for her. Just saying. Fantastic. This is an easy one. As an early game player, if you don't have this built, this is an easy one to build and say, I just countered almost half the most common teams in the game. Just saying. Jedi Master Kenobi. I think we all know Jedi Master Kenobi is a super versatile galactic legend. I know his defensive viability is starting to fall quite a lot, but he holds a fantastic offensive viability right now still. Beating, again, half of the teams, but which of these is cheaper? Just ask it. Obviously, JMK beats the GL options, right? But just keep that in mind. That, obviously JMK probably beats almost everything on our list, but they're not what's being used at the end game or even the mid game. Because I did this data for everybody, all of it, every level. Reva. beats 5 out of 10. If you're saying, I don't want to farm Inquisitors, I don't want to farm Inquisitors, Reva made our most common defensive teams and our most common versatile counter teams. So did JMK. Don't kick the Inquisitor can down the road, especially if now there's an LSB. If you're someone that buys LSBs, that's one to get, and get in a guild getting Reva shards, or convince your guild members to push just like you. I'm not telling you to guild hop, alright? I'm a guild leader, alright? It's a big push, it's a big ask to tell your guild to commit to a goal. I'm not saying you need a guild that requires Inquisitors. I'm saying get together with your guild and say, this is something we need for territory wars, for Grand Arena, and just for the fact it progresses us in the game. Push this common goal together and go from there. And if you can't find a guild with that attitude, then that's the time to go somewhere else. Not everyone's going to want to farm them. I've got members in my guild that have Reva sitting at level 1 and they say, I don't want to do anything with Inquisitors. And it's dumb. It's silly. But ultimately, this is a game. And as long as they can contribute to the guild in the rest of the ways, don't fight people on it. You just find yourself earning a good amount of Reva shards and you'll get her. I believe in you. Just farm them. Fantastic, super versatile team. Bo-Katan Mandalore is super underrated. I still hear people saying to go for Aphra or to go for Baylan before Bo, and it is insane. Bo is fantastic. Again, 4 out of 10 here she's commonly being used against. Her defensive viability is not fantastic, but she's not bad on defense. But on offense, she's super versatile. Fantastic flex, legendary to take out tons of stuff, and still good outside of Grand Arena. Again, 4 out of 10 for Bo. Malgus is fantastic. His defensive viability has gone down, but he still beats 4 out of 10 of our offensive things, and he did make our common defensive list. So, again, great option defense offense. He's a Leviathan. This whole team is almost a Leviathan counter, or Leviathan requirement. So, you're going to have this team built at one point. Sith Eternal. Well, he's not going to be on defense, right? So, of course, he probably makes our offensive consistency list and counter list. This is the Sith Eternal combo, beating 4 out of 10. SEEbane was one of these, and that was the QA. So, SEEbane did make the QA list. This can beat QA. I know that didn't make our list, but just so you know, this can beat QA. This is the common combo you'll see. Sith Eternal, Watt, Armor, Thrawn. The tank does not matter that much. GBA is just the most common used tank here. If you don't have a real GBA set, works in all the matchups except Jedi Master Kenobi. It can get tricky. But realistically, you can use Sith Empire Trooper here as well, or any pre-taunting tank. It needs to be a pre-taunting tank. I do not run that risk of not having a pre-taunting tank, and a good one. But GBA is the most common against JMK because Cat's going to instantly leap that brute, and you just bring a new one back. Bane. I know it seems odd. Bane's at the bottom of the list almost, beating only 2 out of the 10. Quotes on beating, right? Bane beats almost everything we named, but he's only commonly being used on 2 of them. Make with that what you will. He's most commonly going to get used on things like Queen Amidala because there's not as many other options. So if you're saying, if you get Bane, you're going to beat most of them. The bottom of the list gets a little misleading. That's why I didn't leave our one counters on here. Because Bane, realistically, beats this. This can get kind of scary, but he can kind of do it. This. I actually don't know if he beats that. I've never tried that. He cannot beat this. He beats this. He beats this. He beats this with Malik. He beats this with Malik. He beats this. I assume we can beat Qui-Gon. But again, I can't say I've done it. And that's the point of the data. I'm not ever going to use Bane on Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm not going to use Bane on Tuskens. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So, just because he can doesn't make it wasteful. You need counters that help you flex your roster and let you use Bane on the teams you need to use Bane on. So it's important to understand all of these counters. Because the bottom line is, how many teams get set on defense in Grand Arena? In Kyber, how many teams? Let's have a look, shall we? At defense, 5, 5, 4, 8, 11. We looked at the top 10 most common defensive teams. If you can beat all of these, you're almost always going to be full clearing because this is the most common stuff on defense. That's not to say you're not going to see a Leia. You're not going to see a Rey. Actually, I'm honestly shocked Rey didn't make this list. I cannot believe Rey is not on the most common defensive teams. Honestly, shocked out of my mind. But the bottom line is, be prepared. These are the teams to help prep you for that. You want all of these teams on this versatile counter list. Bane, Phoenix, fantastic. Cheap team, very cheap. No Kyrotech until Gear 13 for all of them except Captain Rex. Last spot's blank because for Reva you want GBA. Everything else, Kanan's pretty much fine. Lord Vader Maul. I know, that's a weird one. That shocked me for him to make this, but I think it's because a lot of people do not like putting Lord Vader on defense. So he pops up on our common offense list. And he's used to take out a lot of the, like, weird defensive teams that he can get solid banners against. And some of the GLs. You know, he one of the two is beating Jabba. So, good job, Lord Vader, for making it. And the same thing for Aphra. These two shocked me to be on the list that people are commonly using there. And again, Aphra's defensive viability is really bad, so actually it doesn't shock me if she pops up. Kind of like C. You're only going to use C on offense. You're only going to use Aphra on offense. So it makes sense that they make the list. But yeah, the big ones I want to point out are going to be these 5. JML, GAS, Traya, JMK, Reva. Those are your big, flexible, commonly used counters. Fill out your teams, make your farm plans, but keep these in the back of your mind, and keep these in the back of your mind. Understand that this is the meta. You don't have to follow this. You don't have to copy this. But this is what everyone else is doing. So these are the teams you're likely to see on defense at various levels of Grand Arena. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you plan when you say, okay, what teams do I need to bring on offense? If you bring all 10 of these, how many counters do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You bring all 12 of these teams on offense, you're going to almost always full clear. Realistically, you bring a JML, JMK, Sith Eternal, Lord Vader, Aphra, Bane, Traya, GAS, Reva, Bo-Katan, Mandalore, Malgus on offense. You're going to full clear. That's all there is to it. I hope this helps. I hope these data deep dives are helpful. I know this one's a bit confusing because it's just commonality. It's the most seen. Maybe next time we can look at highest hold rates. See what the strongest defensive teams are, for example. Or maybe the most banner pinching defense teams. Which ones would you guys like to see? That's what I'm curious about. I hope this is helpful. And I hope I'll see you guys in a future Great Arena stream.